Hi everybody, this is the introduction to the second unit of Bava we'll be doing this year. Let's begin by looking at the daf itself. As you can see, our Gemara, this sugya begins on daf chavav amud bet. And again, as we learned earlier, you can look at the top of the daf, you'll see that we are in Mesechet Bava Kama. This is the parak sheni, this is the second parak. And the name of this parak is Ketzad Haregel. So again, we are on Daf Chavav Amud Bet. The two dots means Amud Bet. Mesechet Bava Kama, the second parak. The parak is called Ketzad Haregel, and we will be beginning our first sugya all the way down at the bottom of the page, right here where it says V'amar Rabba. Okay, and if we zoom in a little bit closer, and please mark this off in your Gemara as well. The Gemara is going to begin where it says V'amar Rabba, and it's going to end at the end of the line here where it says Psuke Mifsake Girei. So please bracket those off in the Gemara as well. I'm going to ask you to do one more thing, and I'm going to draw a line in the Gemara in between the two parts here. We're going to do it right before where it says V'amar Rabba right here. I'm going to draw a little line right there just to show that there are actually two parts to this Gemara. There are two cases that are going to be discussed. Again, V'amar Rabba begins the first, and V'amar Rabba begins the second. I'm going to also ask you guys to highlight a couple of Rashis that we're going to do. You can highlight, you can underline, you can circle, just so you have the comments. You know which comments we're going to see in advance. We're going to see the three Rashis here. Rashi Divrei HaMatchil, Rashi Divrei HaMatchil Zarak, Divrei HaMatchil Patur, and the second Divrei HaMatchil Zarak. We're going to see all three of those comments from Rashi, so please highlight them, underline them, however you like to mark them off as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to review a couple of concepts that are important in order to help us understand this unit, this sugya, and then we'll go through those just to clarify them, and then we'll move on to the actual Gemara learning. The first concept we're going to learn is a concept called Grama. Grama has the same letters as Gemara, but the mem and the resh are switched. It has nothing to do with the actual word Gemara. The word Grama means, we're going to say, to cause something to happen indirectly. So if you make an outcome happen, but you weren't your force wasn't the actual cause of something happening. So, for example, on Shabbat, you can flip on a light switch. If you flip on a light switch, so that is an example of directly causing something to happen. If you set your lights on a timer, that is an example of grama. It's setting up a situation where something will happen later on, but it's not because of your direct force, your direct action, that the outcome happens. The second concept we're going to discuss has to do with loopholes. As we discussed in class, a person uses a loophole when they're able to violate a law. They're able to break a law, but it's not actually breaking the actual law. You get around the actual letter of the law, even though you might be going against what the person who wrote the law, the actual law, would want. So what happens if in halacha you're able to use a loophole to get around from paying somebody? So does that, if you don't have to pay somebody, does that mean that you did nothing wrong? So we have a phrase for that says, Patur biyedei adam, meaning you are patur, you are exempt. Patur is a word you need to know. The word is exempt. You are patur biyedei adam. You are exempt in regards to adam, in this world, right? With people, in the human court, in a human beit din, you're patur, you don't have to pay. However, you are chayav biyedei shamayim. You are held accountable, right? Patur is exempt. Chayav is you are required. In this case, we'll say accountable to pay, or for punishment. You are accountable. Chayav b'yedei shamayim, right? So Adam would be human beings down here. Shamayim is referring to obviously God in the heavens. And sometimes you could be patur in this world, but you're still held accountable for doing something wrong. B'yedei shamayim. So yes, there might be loopholes where you get out of paying for things in this world. That does not necessarily mean you did the right thing, and you still might be held accountable in terms of being punished, but not in this world. Okay, now we're going to go on to learn this Gemara as a class. Before we do that, let's skim through it one time and see if we notice a couple of things. I'm just going to read the Hebrew and the Aramaic, no translation. V'amar Rabba zarak kli mirosh hagag, uba acher v'shivro b'makel patur. My tama, mara tavira tavar. Ve'amar Rabba, zarak kli mirosh hagag, v'hayu tachtav karim uksatot. Ba'acher uslakan o kadam uslakan patur. My tama, Ba'idna deshadya psuke mifsake gire. So a couple of things to notice when you go through when you read through this Gemara that we notice even without translating or anything. The first thing you'll notice two va'amarabas, va'amarabba. So you see from there that we have Rabbah saying two different things. You also notice the word, patur come up twice. Patur. These are two rulings. Somebody is exempt. So we're basically going to see two rulings of Rabbah, and in both cases, the person involved, the people involved, are going to be paturim. They're going to be exempt from having to pay. What you'll also notice is the phrase "mai tama" come up a number of times. That would be twice actually. Mai tama, what's the reason? Mai tama, what's the reason? So you know the Gemara is going to ask what the reason is for each of these rulings. And the last thing to notice is the transition from Hebrew to Aramaic. All this v'amar Rabba zara klimi rosh hagag uba acher v'shivro b'makel is all in Hebrew. Patur is also in Hebrew. My Tama is already Aramaic. So that shows you that you have Rabbah's statement, and Rabbah's statement is being analyzed by the Gemara. Rabbah did not say, My Tama mana tavira tavar. Rabbah was speaking in Hebrew. That's the Gemara analyzing. Second time also. Zarak kli mirosh agag b'hayu tachtav karim ksatot ba'acher v'uslakan ukadam uslakan patur, all Hebrew. My Tama ba'ina deshadya psukim mifsake gire, that is all in Aramaic, showing you that Rabbah makes a statement and the Gemara is trying to figure out what the reason is for each of these.